Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to the Wonders Radio Show for Monday, October the 8th, 2012. This is the Changing the World one radio show at a time now radio show with the Wonders and with Rene, Gaudette, and the Wonders, and Maggie, and myself, Jeff Scarrett. I will be your host. So thanks for tuning in, everyone, and it's a nice long weekend here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. It's Canadian Thanksgiving for all of you Canadians out there. Everyone's probably enjoying the day off, and I know Kim and I just went for a nice long walk in High Park. It was beautiful, beautiful fall day here in Toronto, and had a nice chance to visit with some family last night and saw my nieces, which are a bundle of energy, and we had tons of fun with them because I don't get to see them that often, so man, that was great. And yes, it's just nice to see family, chit chat, drink some wine, have some good food and good conversation and catch up a little bit, so that was really nice. And today's a holiday, so even better. I usually teach on Mondays, so I got the day off. Kim's got the day off. We're both relaxing, sitting around, enjoying ourselves, and taping the Wonders Radio Show, which is even better. And so this week, for those of you who tuned in last week, we had part of a workshop, part of some sessions that Rene was facilitating, and yeah, it was amazing stuff. So this week we have Rene back on the show again, and a little different though. We just basically had a conversation, which is always a pleasure. And I had no real questions planned specifically. We just kind of went with the flow, and yeah, I thought it would be nice. It's not often that we get to just sort of chit chat and share it on YouTube, and it's nice. I think a lot of people that have followed the Wonders, a lot of you guys out there that have followed the Wonders for years, and maybe live in different countries, and have had sessions but don't often get a chance to just sort of shoot the breeze with Rene. This is a lot of fun. And it's nice to hear about his life and his life with Maggie, and how all this what we see now with the Wonders and everything came to be, and always lots of fascinating stuff to talk about with Rene. So it was great. And for anyone out there who's been to a retreat before, and for anyone listening who hasn't been to a retreat, I can tell you that between the sessions with the Wonders or Rene, whoever happens to be guiding the sessions at that point, we all have breakfast and lunch and dinner together, and everyone sits around and we all chat and talk about whatever we want, share our experiences, our lives, get to know each other, and it's that's a great opportunity for anyone out there who's curious. That's what's so amazing about retreats. It's like you go into the sessions and then you learn and you change and you grow and you learn all this fascinating stuff, and you explore, and then between sessions you get a chance to put it into practice and really sort of bounce ideas off each other. And with Rene and Maggie there, and they share their experiences, their choices, and how they have integrated this stuff into their lives, and it's just an amazing thing. I mean, it's it's not just all the participants, everyone's choosing, everyone's applying, and I think that's the real core thing here, is that when we listen to the Wonders and the information that they're giving or sharing with humanity, however you want to look at it, again, is that this is about a new way of living. This is really, it's about applying, it's about it's about awareness. It's about becoming conscious, living consciously. It's actually being different and changing. I think in my experience, and maybe a lot of you would agree, that it's like you sort of seek out the information and the knowledge throughout your life, the spiritual teachings, any kind of guidance you're looking for to help grow and change and understand what's everything around us that much more, but a lot of times we sort of stop there. It's like, I know for myself too, it's like you sort of get this information, you're like, okay, yeah, I know that, but a lot of times it's just a mental concept, and you haven't actually applied it, you haven't integrated it, you haven't changed. And that's kind of my point, I guess, in what I'm saying here, is that having Rene and having this sort of, having the benefit of his experience and his awareness of what the Wonders teach and how the choices have played out in his life, and how some of the fears and his experiences and this and that. It's the example concept, right? I mean, it has to be applied. I mean, it's like all of this knowledge, and I think a lot of you guys out there would agree. It's like, you hear the Wonders, and a lot of other channelers too. It's not just the Wonders, but I mean, you hear this information, and something deep inside of you is like, yeah, I know that. It's you could say it's common sense, common awareness. There's like a connection to something really, really deep that we kind of all resonate to. And it's like when you hear it, if you can allow yourself to get past, the judgment of what it is that we're actually hearing and the source and all that kind of stuff, it's like, you just sort of acknowledge it. But then at a certain point, you're kind of like, okay, well, it has to be, I got to actually do this. I actually have to choose this. It's like, at first, it's like a mind thing, and your mind is just fascinated with all this amazing information and awareness. Then you just kind of gobble it up. But then, once the mind, what am I trying to say? I mean, in my experience, it's like at first it's a mind thing, and then you sort of go deeper and deeper, and you get into the sort of, you get to know yourself on a deeper level. And then it's like it goes, you sort of get, you get to the point where you're like, this has to be chosen. This isn't this awareness. In order to really, really know this stuff deep down, you have to choose. And I think that's kind of the core thing of what I'm trying to say here. Again, it's like this whole way of living consciously and choosing freely, and really this freedom beyond limitation and beyond, not letting fear run your life, and all these things the wonders talk about, self-love, and the whole message. It has to be chosen to really to be realized. And it's like, man, that's a real pain in the ass sometimes. And it's not easy, it's not easy. It's man, it's probably one of the hardest things. I think I heard the wonders say that once. Choosing freely is one of the easiest things you'll ever do, but getting to that point is one of the hardest things, if not the hardest thing you will ever do in this existence. And it's like, it really is. It's not easy. The mind is insistent. Fear is strong. Limitation, struggle. It's all, it all comes at you all the time. So it's, it's like sometimes you're like, oh, wow. You kind of like open a doorway into a new awareness or something, or you kind of like, wow, I've never explored here before, or I've never, I never considered this, didn't know this was going to happen, or whatever. Right. And then other days you're just like, man, am I getting anywhere? Like, I just feel like my whole life is a total disaster. It's like, it's funny. It really is funny. But it's fun, and if you're like anything like me, and you love exploring and just the excitement and the wonder of it all, it's like, man, there's nothing better, right? But anyway, I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over again here, but that's, to me, that's the benefit in my experience of having Rene and Maggie, and, his ability to really share with us his experience of these choices, and, how he relates to this awareness that the wonders are passing on. And, it's amazing. It's really, really special. And it's a real pleasure to have him on the show. I feel like it's weird. It's like, I know him and we've been friends for years, and I feel like it's his show anyway, because it's about him, but I'm kind of hosting it. So anyway, it's great to have him here speaking, and it was great to have a conversation, and we'll do it again. So what else is going on? Lots of workshops coming up. There's a workshop on this weekend, and, lots of exciting workshops coming up. If you all want to check out thewonders.com on the homepage there, if you just go to workshops or study groups, all the information for registration and pricing and the details of each workshop is all there. Yeah, what else? I don't know. Book a session, explore. Check out all the other videos. There's Asi Maya too. Anyone who's interested in healing, energy healing, man, I mean, that's a whole other conversation for sure. Just check it out, get the DVD and start practicing and see what happens. It's a whole other world of possibilities. It's limitless. It's amazing. So anyway, let's get to the conversation, and hope you all are doing well. Thanks again for tuning in. Thanks again, Rene and Maggie. Thanks again. And everybody, let's all try and be nice to each other, and, share love and change the consciousness and change the world, and, who knows what'll happen. But anyway, thanks again, folks, and we'll see you all in a couple weeks, and take care. Bye-bye.
So greetings, Rene.
Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
And greetings, everyone in our listening audience. I guess we have a special treat today, folks. We have Rene Gaudette himself, who's going to share a bit about his life with us. And I guess it's been a long time coming, eh, Rene?
Well, it seems to be.
Slowly,
everybody wants to hear from me, and they don't want to hear from the wonders these days, so it's okay.
Yeah, well, that's kind of nice. Isn't it funny, too, though, right? Because it's like, everyone's always so asking about the wonders, and not very often that anyone really asks about Rene. So
Yeah, but it's been the way I wanted it. When Maggie and I first started this whole thing, we started it on the basis that it was just the wonders. I didn't want to be out there in front of people, because I really wanted the message to be clear and to be whatever the wonders were. I didn't want to be myself. I didn't want to instill my personality or my thoughts or my concepts into it. But over the years, with the wonders' encouragement, and encouragement in quotation marks, because you know what they're like. They can be a little pushy in their own way sometimes. Anyhow, with their encouragement, I've basically started to do a little bit more, and to the point where now I'm actually doing some retreats as well, and workshops like you saw there in the last radio show.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's been fun.
Oh, yeah, and I've had the pleasure of, I guess you could say, studying with you myself, and it's amazing. And as far as I'm concerned, it's having that bridge, because a lot of times the wonders, even if you can grasp the concepts and even start to apply it in your life, having you sort of explain it in a way that's practical and, hey, this is how I actually chose this and did this. It's really crucial. I mean, as far as I can see, it's a necessary bridge.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that is one of the things that I do present. I've had to integrate everything that the wonders have taught. Like I don't ever listen to what they say.
Yeah.
I don't go back and listen to it. Like a lot of people do. But having said that, I get everything, I guess, by osmosis when I'm channeling, right? So what happens is, of course, is with their encouragement, again in quotation marks, I start to have to integrate everything that they're teaching, everything they're presenting to humanity, and so it's been quite the journey of my own thing. And my experiences are then become real life experiences that I can share, and I guess that's the advantage when I'm sharing myself, is that you're getting the practical, pragmatic. This is how I've lived. This is what I've done to integrate this stuff.
And I think some people too, they might hear the wonders for the first time and just sort of disassociate the two, because there are a lot of channelers out there that, it's almost like they have their own lives and then they channel as well. And then, I mean, I'm sure everybody's integrating on some level, but a lot of people maybe don't even really think that you're in your own life and in your own way choosing all of this stuff and experiencing all this for yourself. It's not like you just lay back and channel and that's it.
Yeah, I'm not just a messenger boy, if you want to call it that. It's just, definitely. Let's face it. We live such an amazing, brilliant life that we have. When we come in here into this world. Sorry, there's a call coming in. We can't stop that.
Okay. That's okay.
But when we come into this particular world, we live such a brilliant life, and it's so there. But the problem is, let's face it, we come in and we think to ourselves, well, we're not that good, we're not that great, we're not, and we don't want to be self-centered. Religion tells us to set yourself aside and all that stuff. And next thing you know, you end up living a life of mediocrity. And then the few that really excel, we raise them up on pedestals. And then, of course, once they're up on pedestals, we want nothing more than to bring them down off their pedestals. So, I mean, you can see that with all of the actors and actresses in Hollywood. We put them up on pedestals because they can act. Okay? And then we love nothing more than to watch their whole lives fall apart.
Yeah, see them crumble.
Yeah, and look at how the money that's being made with all the rag magazines that are being sold for, so and so is too fat, so and so's got stretch marks, so and so is, has divorced, or they're having an affair, or they had an accident. I mean, let's face it, we all have. If we had people hounding us all the time, we'd be in accidents all the time.
Oh man, for sure.
Like, try driving through a bunch of people, call them paparazzi or whatever. Try driving through them without hitting one,
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, where's the common sense in all this? So what we've done as a society and as people is we've accepted our own mediocrity, and we've elevated people who are just a little less mediocre than us up on pedestals, and then we spend a great deal of time and a lot of fun trying to bring them down.
Yeah.
And, to me, that's what a nasty way to live. To me, the best way to live, the most loving way for me to live, is to just go out there and be myself and be everything that I can be. That old saying with the Army and the U.S. Army, be all that you can be. It's like, be everything you can be. Go ahead. yeah, so you're afraid. Yes, you're scared. Yes, you see yourself as mediocre. Who cares? Take that mediocrity and bring yourself to a point where you're actually looking at yourself and saying, is this the way I want to live?
Yeah.
Is this what I want for myself? So what I've learned from all these years of channeling is that there's something inside of me that is really, truly special. And I'm not saying that in the sense of, like self-centeredness or, I'm saying there's a specialness about my existence here. There's a specialness about me of why I incarnated right now in this world. Okay? And my specialness is no different than your specialness, Jeff. I mean, it's your specialness is yours. Look at how brilliant and amazing a guitar player you are. And, you're such an amazing musician, not just a guitar player, but a musician. You're an amazing, but I couldn't do what you do. There's no way that you'd sit me down with a guitar and, yeah, I could plunk, but to play the way you do, to have the passion that you have for music, to have the joy of sitting there and playing it hour after hour, I get bored out of my skull.
And that's not even to mention jazz.
Yeah, exactly. So, for me, that whole thing of doing all of this would be like, God, that would be just not me. But then that doesn't mean that I'm not as special as you, So we all have our specialties. We all have our specialness, if you want to call it that, but we forget that. We forget that we have that specialness. So for me, my specialness, surprisingly enough, was my laziness. I mean, if you want to call it that. I always wanted to get paid a whole lot of money for doing nothing, And I figured the best way to do it was to sleep. So, I managed to make this into a life, and I know you laugh at it, but let's face it, my methodology of getting paid is better than yours.
Yeah.
You got to work for yours.
As long as something comes out when you sleep. See, when I sleep, it's, people are just going to get me snoring on tape.
Yeah, well, there you go, you see. I have I've managed to, be, like I said, I'm a talker anyway, so, hey, talk when I'm awake and talk when I'm asleep. It's all the same, right?
Yeah.
So, but, that's my specialness. And over the years, as I've channeled the wonders, I've come to realize so much more about all my fears and all the issues that I have that stop me from really achieving what I want to achieve. When you look at yourself and you say, every time you look at yourself and you say, I can't, no matter what it is, okay? When you say, I can't, the minute you say, I can't, there's a clue. There's a real indicator of a psychology, a belief structure, something inside of you that is stopping you from really letting your brilliance come out. The minute you say, I can't. Now, let's face it. I say I can't all the time, even now, okay? The difference is that every time I say I can't, I go, oops. Okay? I look at it and I go, yeah, I'm still going to hold on to that I can't, or no, I can let go of it, There's some things that I'm not ready yet to let go of because I'm too scared. And then there's some things that I'm willing to let go of because I'm not as scared as I used to be, And every day I wake up a little less afraid than yesterday, So when you're looking at it that way and you start to realize that, okay, there's a whole pile of indicators in your life to let you know where you're stopping yourself. And they change as you get older. They change from when you were a child to when you get older. And believe me, when you get to be my age, they're all over the place. I spent a whole lot of time putting a lot of I can'ts into my life, So you get to a point where you realize, hey, I can live with all these I can'ts, or I can just let go of them. And you look at the people today, like I'm going to be 62 in a few days, actually. Wow, holy mackerel, soon. Anyhow, I keep saying I'm 62 every time I turn the year flips over,
Yeah, right.
Anyhow, when you look at people my age, and you look at people who are older than us, and you look at the older people in life, not the young people who are 19 and 20, they always have that passion that they can always do everything, right? But when you get older, you look at the older people, and the older you get, the more people get caught up into the I can'ts. And you look at their lives, and their lives, instead of being broad and out there and open and living, it becomes one of these, I can't do this anymore, I can't do that anymore, I can't get up, I can't walk, I can't go to the store, I can't go out, I don't want to go dancing anymore, I don't want to go to the movies anymore, I can't do this, I can't, and their whole lives becomes a series of I can'ts. And it gets worse as you get older. It's like, all these I can'ts have piled one on top of the other on top of the other, so that by the time you hit your 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, well, you might as well just lie down on the ground and wait for death to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
And I refuse to live that way. I just, that's not the way I want to live, and that's with the help of the wonders. I've learned I don't have to live that way. It's a choice. I don't have to live that way. It's not like I don't have a choice here. It's a choice.
Absolutely.
So I can choose to live with a bunch of I can'ts, or I can look at the I can'ts and say, do I really want to hang on to this? And choose to live a different way. So that's me.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's amazing. And it's like, how do you feel now that you're out speaking, and how does the fear level for you, as opposed to when you were just channeling, how does it feel now to be out there more, being vulnerable, putting yourself out, being yourself?
Well, when I first started, when I first started doing the very, very first retreat that I did, I think you were there, when I did it on my own. And I was like, oh, man, my knees were shaking, my armpits were sweating, my hands were going crazy, and it was like, can I do this? After about the first session, I thought, what am I doing this? Why am I sweating? Why am I doing this fear thing?
Yeah.
Everything went well. Move on. And for the rest of the retreat, it was fine. I don't have a problem doing it now. The only thing is I don't ever want to confuse people with the message of the wonders,
Yeah,
like, to
true.
me, it's really important that the world gets to hear the wonders. They are such an amazing source of love and enlightenment and awareness, that I don't want to bring my filters into it. Me is me. Let's face it. I'm me. The wonders are the wonders, I have the benefit of being the channeler for the wonders. And it's a pretty special relationship I have with them. It's a very special relationship. And I wouldn't miss it for the world. I wouldn't want to change that at all, okay? But having said that, I love what I do now. I mean, I would love to talk to thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people, and be sitting there and expressing myself this way that I'm expressing myself to you right now. I'd love that, only because I know that I can help people and influence the human consciousness that way. Okay? That's my job. But having said that, I still want the wonders out there. There's still a clarity when I channel that comes through that's not me, I still have the confusion of the human nature. Hey.
Well, we need to relate to that.
Well, yeah. And
isn't that it, right?
Well, that's it. Like I said, I've gone through the struggles. I've gone through the fears. I'm the one who sat there and has really literally been paralyzed with fear. So I've done all this stuff. When you're sitting there saying to the wonders that, you can't do this, or you're too afraid, or what, well, I understand all that. I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been to the point where I've gone around and sworn at the wonders myself and said, like, you guys, I can't, you're pushing me too hard. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. And the next thing you know, I'm doing it,
Yeah.
It's like, I've done that. I had a relationship. Well, my first marriage, my brother-in-law from my first marriage, I remember years after I'd left the marriage, we used to get together once a year to have a great conversation and, reminisce old times. And he said something to me that was really quite interesting. He said to me, he says, I admire you. And I said, what? What for? My life's a complete total failure. I left a marriage. My marriage failed. I've had failed relationships. I've been hit by a truck while I was on a skidoo. Like, what are you admiring me for? He says, because, he says, every time I see you, he says, there's hundreds of thousands of changes you've made in the last year. He says, and I can't do that. He says, I can't change that way. He says, I'm too afraid to change. He says, and I admire you for that. And I said, well, instead of admiring me, why don't you change? He said, oh, no, I can't do that. No, that would be way too much for me to change. So it's like, hey, that's your choice, I can't.
Yeah.
I'm like that Rolling Stone. I just can't sit still. It's just.
And it's interesting too, and I've experienced this for myself, studying with the wonders in yourself. Is that it's almost like in the beginning you have this idea that one day fear is not going to be there, or fear is not going to be part of it, but it's always there. And I think a lot of people out there think, oh, well, maybe Renee's just not afraid like everybody else is.
Oh,
you know what I mean? It's like, oh, it's always there. It's constant.
Yeah, I live with fear. Like I'm fond of saying, I mean, I'm afraid every minute of the day. There isn't a moment when I'm not afraid.
I hear you. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, and I can tap into it. I can go in there. My stomach can just tie up in knots right now as I'm talking to you if I wanted to. Okay. I mean, it's just always there. I just don't pay attention to it.
Yeah.
I ignore it. It's just not part of my way of life. Sometimes, you know, like no matter how much I ignore it, it crops its ugly head up. Okay. And sometimes I get paralyzed for a few minutes, maybe, you know, 10, 15 minutes, maybe an hour, maybe 2. But it's not very long. I don't usually stay paralyzed for long. It's at the most, I think I've been paralyzed in the last few years, at the most maybe a day, maybe 2, babe? About that?
Yeah.
You know, like...
Yeah, about that.
Not much.
Not much.
Not much more than that.
No,
No,
not at all.
It's like, you know, I don't tend to get paralyzed a great deal, you know? And so it's just...
I can tell you what it's like if you want to know.
Oh, I've been there. I know what it's like. You forget, okay?
No, I know.
You forget. You know, like, I've lived a whole life paralyzed by fear. When I was a kid growing up, I was the oddball. I was the guy who was the, well, you know, they call them geeks today, okay? I was the geek of the geeks, if you want to call it that. I was the guy that everybody loved to pick on. If there was going to be somebody who was going to get picked on at school, I was the guy they were going to pick on school. You take, I went to high school, you know, there's, I don't know, there was 1,200 kids in high school. Who did they pick on? Me. Okay? Out of 1,200 kids, they had to pick on me. I walked into my first class, my very, very first class that I ever had in this particular high school. I walked into it, and this guy looks at me, and he immediately puts his foot out and trips me as I'm walking down to get to my seat. Okay? Now, where did that come from? You know?
Yeah, right.
So that's the way I've lived. I've lived with that fear. I've lived with being different. I've lived with being the oddball. I've lived with thinking differently and having people come at me and tell me I was wrong. I've lived with, you know, I've lived with pain and sorrow, literally, all my life. I've lived with immense sorrow pretty well all my life. And so you live with it, you know? So, yeah, you can't tell me anything about that stuff. I've experienced it all, buddy. You know,
it's like we do with movie stars, though. It's like, Rene, you're just too good looking and too smart. Everyone wants to take you down. That's all.
Yeah, well, I don't know about the good looking part. Maybe the smart part. I'll go for that. But you know, yeah, right. Yeah, she's prejudiced. It's okay. But you know, it's like you live this. I mean, I even lost my mind there. I had a nervous breakdown. Literally lost my mind for 3 months. I couldn't even think what I had to do to get up to go to the bathroom. I couldn't think that. I had to literally have someone force me to get up to go to the bathroom. I couldn't think about it. It's you know, so it's been difficult. I've had my difficult times in life.
What was that low? I mean, it's like you get to that low place where you just say, "That's it. I've had it."
Oh, I've been there. I've been there twice in my life. Twice in my life, I've actually been at the point of literally thinking about committing suicide. I've been there. Okay, so low that I wanted to get out of here. Okay, and I, you know, in a way, I laugh at the humor of it now. I go back on it and I think to myself, why did I ever want to be out of here when there's so much here to do? You know? But yeah, I've been that low. I've been at that point where you look at yourself and there's, like you say, I can't live anymore. I can't do this. I just can't. And that's another one of those I can'ts, you know?
Yeah.
And actually, you know, if I can take this into a tangent, you know, in a way, that's why people die when they get older, because they get to the point where the I can'ts outweigh the I can. Okay? And they let go, and that's it. They die, you know?
Yeah.
So
no alternative.
Well, you know, they called it, you know, old age. You know, he died peacefully in his sleep. You know, really, he died peacefully in his sleep? He died because the I can'ts became too much. He couldn't hang on anymore.
Yeah.
You know? So there was that, you know. But no, to go back to it, yeah, I've been on solo that you could literally, you couldn't pull me out of bed. For 3 months, all I wanted to do was lie in bed, put the covers over my head, and cry my eyes out. So, you know, yeah, I've been there. Like I said, I've experienced virtually every experience you can think of, except wealth. I haven't experienced that one yet.
Hey, it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, I'm working on that. You know, unlimited, overabundant, totally obnoxious wealth. I haven't experienced that one yet.
Yeah.
More than enough, and you know what to do with, right? I like that idea.
That's right.
And how is meeting your lovely wife Maggie allowed you to do what you do now? I mean, a lot of people out there may not know of how that all sort of came to be.
The story was
like your
amazing.
relationship with Maggie, like how that's affected your choice to do what you do now.
Well, I had already chosen long before I met Maggie that I was going to do the wonders. Okay.
Oh, okay.
That was a choice. That was a given. There was just no way I was not going to do this. However, having said that, I also wanted someone in my life who would be my partner in all of this. Now, by my partner, I meant not just partner to the channeling part, but I figured that if to have someone to do the channeling, I had to have a partner who would literally be my, in quotation marks, life partner, okay? Who would be there, we would be married, we'd be living together, we'd be doing everything together, because, let's face it, I knew right away that the wonders was going to be an intense exploration, okay?
For sure.
You can't do the wonders and think to yourself, well, it's like a 9-to-5 job, okay? It's not. It's like a whole way of life. It's
Way of living, yeah.
Yeah, it's not 9 to 5. I mean, yeah, sure, we do readings, you know, between 1 and 9, so to speak, but you know, no, it's not 9 to 5. It's a way of life. So I wanted that person who was going to be with me for the rest of my life, who would do this with me for the rest of my life. Now, up to that point, I'd had a number of people help me out, but they were just there. They were just going through the motions of helping me. So when, you know, I finally allowed myself to accept in my life, and I was looking, by the way, for a wife at the time, because I'd gone through 2 marriages and a failed relationship, and I was looking for somebody as well in my life. And I was caught up in that whole mind game of, this is how my wife has to look. This is how my wife has to be. This is the, and you know, you sit there and you think to yourself, this is the kind of partner I want in my life. I want a person who's this way, who's, you know, I wanted a brunette, by the way. Maggie's blonde, in case nobody knows. But, you know, it was just like, this is what I wanted. I had these physical attributes that I had decided that this is what my wife was going to be like, and the emotional attributes and that kind of stuff. And it wasn't until I went through a real reawakening inside of me, a reorganization of my own psychologies and my own awarenesses, that I realized that all of that was just fluff. It was not important. What was really important is just having someone there who wanted to share their life with me and who was going to love me as I was. So when all of a sudden I made that shift, well, it was the next day I made some phone calls. I was going to start up a study group, and I made some phone calls, and the first person I called wasn't at home, and the second person I called was Maggie. And we talked on the phone for 4 hours, realized who we were. We went through a whole pile of past life memories right then and there over 4 hours on the telephone, met the next day, agreed that we would spend the rest of our lives together, and then it was just a question of the logistics of making things happen, and it took her 2 weeks to move in, so she was really slow. Yeah. But we've been together like this all the time, and like since, and that's 15 years ago, and we've spent 15 years, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week together.
Great.
Okay, and we live the wonders, we breathe the wonders, we explore life as students of the wonders, if you want to call it that. You know, this is who we are, and it's the most amazing thing in my life. I mean, without her, the wonders wouldn't be presented today in the way that it is, because I was quite content just sitting back and letting things develop. Sorry. Maggie was more interested in getting it out there, and she gave me a few swift kick in the butt to get me out there, so.
Softens.
Hang on a second, I'm just going to grab a glass of water. Sorry. So yeah, she's she's the motivator, I guess you could call
Yeah.
her. She's the boot in the butt, you know.
It helps. It helps.
You need that sometimes, you know. Like
You
I,
sure
hey,
do.
like I said, my whole passion in life was to sleep for a living. So do you really think I wanted to get up and go do things?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, she's the one that kept saying, "Well, we got to get this out. We just got to get." I said, "I know, it's got to get out. Yeah, it'll get out." No, it's not going to just get out on its own. We got to go out and do it. So at that point, it was like, well, okay, what can we do? And one thing led to another. We did all the psychic fairs, and
Yeah.
we started off doing that So yeah, it's just developed from there. And because of people like you, who are willing to do radio shows like this, who are willing to really help us and support us, man, that's the word of the wonders is getting out to the world. I was
Yeah,
just telling
right.
you, just before we started this whole thing, how we just had somebody call who had just spent the whole weekend listening to all the radio shows. And, just this person had never been on, well, not never been, but doesn't usually go on YouTube, ended up on YouTube, hit the Wonders. I don't know how she found out about the Wonders. Hit the Wonders, spent the whole weekend listening to every radio show there was, went on our website, absorbed all the material, and then called and to discuss having sessions with the Wonders.
That's hilarious. She had never heard of the Wonders before.
Nope.
Wow.
No. So
That's interesting.
that's the power that you have in this radio show to change the world. This is this is the beauty of it. Well, we just, what was it, a couple of days ago, honey? Someone sent us a donation
Yeah.
out
Oh,
of the blue
wonderful.
Yeah.
from the UK for the radio show.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And I thank that person. They know who they are. Thank you for listening to the radio show and being willing to donate to continue the radio show.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
It wasn't a big donation, but it was an amazing donation. It was like, wow, out of the blue, So it's out there,
Yeah.
So what else?
Yeah.
What else do you want to talk about? Because I could talk for hours,
Yeah, I know. Me too. I just wanted to ask you more. Like, what is? This is a weird. I mean, it's the English language is, I guess, kind of limited. But what is the Wonders to you like? How do
Okay.
you even begin to describe that relationship?
You don't. You just can't. I mean,
I know.
How do you describe snow to someone who's never ever experienced anything similar to that?
Yeah. I know, it's
How do you describe the desert to someone who's lived their whole life up in the Arctic?
Yeah.
You can talk about it. You can say, well, there's a desert and there's no snow. So you talk about it in terms of what there isn't as opposed to what there is.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you still don't describe it completely. So really, if you wanted, for me, the relationship I have with the Wonders, it's like, call it a symbiotic relationship, where there's an energy presence constantly with me all the time. I feel them all the time. I know they're there all the time. And it's not just a presence of knowing, it's a presence of connection. It's like I feel so connected. Well, think of you, Jeff, and if I may, with your new lovely partner there in your life, okay? There's a connection between the two of you that you're developing. You haven't quite developed it completely, but you're developing. And as you go day by day by day, you gain a familiarity with the other person, right? And you kind of know what their little quirks are and what they like and what they don't like. And then you start to think in terms like they do. And when they say two people are together a long time, they become as one. It's because they start thinking the same way, right? Well, now imagine that you spent a whole life with the same person, and you've become pretty close. But you're still you, and they're still them, okay? So there's still that separation. Now take that whole separation out, take that whole lifetime of being close together, multiply that by unlimitedness, okay? Limitlessness, and then take that separation out completely, and you've got just the beginning of an idea of how it is with me and the Wonders.
Yeah. It's so beautiful.
Okay? And that's basically what it is. Like I said, it's hard to explain, but it's like if every cell structure in my body is one with them. It's like I'm so connected that there's no separation at all. But yet at the same time, I still have my ego, my personality, and I love exploring it over here, and I love being this person, and, I like being who I am, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's you gotta love it, you know.
Yeah, you do. I mean,
And it
it's like you
gives me
said
a
it.
chance by doing this. It gives me that chance to being able to, get out there and say to people, look, you know, this is what you too can do, you know.
Yeah, there's so much.
Yeah, and don't look at me and don't look at yourself and say, well, I can channel the wonders, or I want to be able to channel the wonders. I've had a few people to say that. It's like, how can I channel the wonders? I said, you can't, because the relationship I have with them is so unique, and as
Mm-hmm.
they've said, they've only chosen me, and they
Mm-hmm.
won't choose anybody else until I finally give up the ghost, you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or the physical, I suppose, not the ghost.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like so. And who they're going to choose, they've also made mention of this, that who they're going to choose next, they will let us know before I die. So,
Mm-hmm.
so that way people can't. And the reason for that is so that people can't say afterwards, well, I channel so and so, I channel the wonders. I'm now,
Mm-hmm.
look at Abraham. How many people are channeling Abraham?
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
how many people have said that they channel Edgar Casey? You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
how many people have said that they channel, who's the other one there that we always talk about? Jane
Seth.
Roberts,
Yeah.
Seth,
Seth,
you know?
yeah.
Oh, Seth, yeah.
It's like, really?
Mm-hmm.
So the one thing that the Wonders have been, and there's a consistency with them. They've always been
Mm-hmm.
consistent about this, and they
Mm-hmm.
will let the humanity know this. So that way, there can't be any, call it religion idea around what they've talked
Yeah.
about, right?
So important. Yeah.
Yeah, because let's face it, it's not like this is the first time they've come through in humanity.
Exactly.
And, we're definitely not wanting to set up another religion right now, right?
Nope.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. A segue here into something else.
Yeah.
You think about it. I was born and raised, well, I was raised Catholic. I wasn't born Catholic. I was raised Catholic, okay? God help me if I was ever born Catholic.
The
I was
irony is
raised
hilarious.
Catholic, yes. But you know how people say I was born and raised, Yeah,
Yeah.
No. I was raised Catholic. I was born free.
Yeah.
I was born spiritual, raised Catholic. But, I've gone back to that root of my own spirituality. I am truly a spiritual person. I live by my own spiritual principles. And they're based, on the Wonders teachings, and that's what they are,
That's it. Exactly.
that freedom, like I said, born free, that's what we all are. Have all been born free. Unfortunately, after we've been born free, we tend to look, religion says, well, you're not really free, you were sinners, so you got to get baptized, and you got to go to church and do all that kind of stuff. So I think that's religion's way of being able to say that being free is a nasty thing to be. Okay? Well, I like it. I like being born free.
Yeah.
That's the way I like it, and that's the way I want to live. So to me, now I live in a spiritual way, and that's so important because I live by those principles. The 6 defining statements the Wonders have given humanity. Like that fourth statement, that which you are is that which I am, and that which I am is that which you are. To me, that statement just basically overcomes every religious concept you can think of.
Absolutely.
Forget all the rules, forget all the regulations, forget all the things, that you're supposed to live by. If you just consider that fourth defining statement as a way for you to live, why would you, in any way, shape, or form, create harm in another human being when you know that you're harming yourself at the very same moment?
Yeah. Exactly.
So that's the way I live anyways. And I'm passionate. By the way, we've gone way over our time here. Okay.
That's all right. What time is it?
We're way
Where
past.
am I? What's going
We're
on?
way past our time here. We're way past our time. But we could continue this conversation at any time. So if you want to, I could continue with this on the next radio show. We could have some more conversations.
Yeah, we'll do it all the time for sure.
Because, it's to me.
There's so much.
I have so much to say to the people that are listening. It's like, listen, people. If you walk away from this radio show with one thing, walk away with this: that the I can'ts will kill you eventually. So the more I can'ts you have, the more you're saying, I want to die. Okay? It's the I cans that let you live. The I cans that bring that passion, that excitement, that joy, that intensity, that amazing pleasure of living life. So that's my message for today. How's that?
Wonderful. Well, dearest Rene, it's always a pleasure.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, thanks very much. It's been great, and we'll do it again next time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And thanks for doing this. You gave me a chance to express my passion, and to bring Maggie into it as well. And thank you for allowing us this opportunity, and for of course supporting us and presenting these radio shows to the world as well. Thank you.
Well, my pleasure. You're welcome.
And like I said, remember, your specialness is very special. So I admire it.
Go get it.
That's it.